Alicia out with the knee injury. What kind of blow does that take to your roster and your offensive production?
Huge.
She was a very key scorer.
Yeah, she was our second leading scorer, so it's huge. So now we're trying to figure out who's going to do that, plus offensive rebound, and plus play the top of the press. So those are three key things that we did really well. So, and obviously for the team, that takes some of their energy out too. Like, they love her. She's great to have on the team. She's an amazing kid. She brings a different kind of energy to the team. She's very fun-loving, and she's always a kid that was be like, "You got this, you got this, you got this." So it's been hard for them just to see her on the sidelines.
Yeah, and like they said, she's a big part of what you guys do.
Yeah.
How have you been supporting her through this? Because it is her senior year, so that's a tough thing to have to go through.
Yeah. But she has 1 year left.
Yeah.
So, she just got to go through it, and hopefully, we're taking it step by step because she hasn't had surgery yet, so she knows. She doesn't know yet what's coming. The hard stuff's coming. So we're just taking one day at a time and just, giving her a different role on the team and having her talk and practice and do different stuff, kind of be like a coach. So
I don't know the exact details of her injury, but is there like a rough estimate of when she'll be recovered?
No.
As a team, your three-point attempts were significantly lower than games past. Was that something that going into the game you kind of knew was going to be lower?
Yeah, we couldn't shoot quick shots. We're just not going to shoot quick shots because they are a transition team, and they score in transition off of offensive rebounds and drawing fouls, and so we weren't going to try to shoot quick shots.
And then as well as your team's free throw percentage, it was at 90%.
Finally, huh?
Yes. That
So we're growing. Definitely growing.
So is that a sign that you guys have been working on in practice?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then on the defensive side, I was curious about building a defense. When you guys as a staff are recruiting players, is that something that you prioritize, or do you think that you guys are really good at molding those players into good defensive players?
Ooh, that's a broad question. Okay, so I think that it's not actually about playing defense. It's about the desire and like if you go watch recruiting, you see a kid diving the loose ball and the toughness and the energy and that kind of thing. Really, you have to be able to. I mean, every college coach is the same way. I mean, you can't win games if you don't play defense. Period. So, I mean, we just look for kids that really get after it. You saw a little bit with Steph Ingram, a freshman, and she was diving on the floor and she was super aggressive and doing all that kind of stuff. I think that's super important.
Is there a specific reason Chloe only played for a minute today?
No, it's coach's decision.
And what have you seen from both Damari and Destiny? Their production has gone up. They both
Yeah.
scored double figures tonight.
Yep. Destiny, you said?
Yeah, Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about seniors, they should play like that. So we've really put, not really Damari, but Destiny and Joe to score. You guys got to score. You got to try to score. It's funny because they're like, okay, wow, that's great. I get to try to score, but they've just never really been scorers. Like Joe wasn't a scorer for the previous coach, and I've been telling her, you can score, you can draw fouls, you can do things, And Desto obviously played for me two years ago, and we would beg at her scores. Destiny scored 10 points in 13 minutes, so clearly if she doesn't get in foul trouble, then that would be really helpful. The fouls are really hurting us getting in foul trouble.
Going into you still have one more game this month, but going into the last month of the season in February, what is one thing you think that you guys need to really hone in on and figure out before?
Take care of the ball. Not getting so many turnovers, which we did really well, and I heard you ask Javin. I was like, and it's being consistent. We got to be consistent for sure.
As far as the schematic side of a defensive team, what all goes into the decision to play primarily zone? Is that something that you as a coach?
It's a matchup defense,
favor?
but because they want to score in the paint. So. So we just really packed it in. It worked on Madison because she's going to be a first-team all-conference player. She's going to be one of the top players. She is one of the top players in the league. So she had 0 points. So we really didn't want her to beat us. But the other ones, stepped up. But I think it was the second quarter, our 8 turnovers. We got 8 turnovers right away. So we got to take care of the ball and just stay consistent.
And then on that note of a matchup, when you're scouting a team, you and your staff, what are a couple of takeaways that you guys look for in preparation of how to defend that team?
How to defend that team?
Yes, like
How they
how-
score. Yeah, so transition, team scores in transition. This team scores offensive rebounds, and this team scores in the paint. So that's kind of what we look at.
One or two more.
With Javin hitting the 1,000-point club today, how does this accomplishment affect like the team as a whole, and how does her presence affect the dynamics?
Yeah, no, I think it mostly, Javin said it, she's not worried about that so much, but I think it affects Javin, and, you know, when she's an old fart like me, she's going to look back and be like, ooh, I scored 1,000 points at Georgia, which is amazing, you know what I mean? Not a lot of people can say that when they're in their college careers, being able to do that. And we got, you know, Hall of Fame people, that players that played here, including myself. Just kidding. I'm joking. That's a joke, but Javin's going to be able to look back. You know, it's not going to even phase her now, but I think, you know, when you get older and you can, you know, talk smack to your husband and your children or whoever it may be, you can say, hey, I scored 1,000 points at Georgia. I was a stud. And your children are going to say, you were? You still suck. No. So I think that's big for her. But obviously, for her to play professionally too, you know, there will be people that will want to sign her because she can play offense.
And then today's game obviously featured two of the top defenses in the SEC.
We are?
Yes, you guys in Ole Miss.
Mhm.
So when you just think about today's game in women's basketball, do you think the game in general favors the offense or the defense?
Her name is Caitlin Clark. That's what it favors, for sure.